Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see, it's just me sitting in front of the camera, so we are gonna have a little bit of a chat. Earlier on this week, I put out a little Instagram story to say to you guys, if you had any questions that you wanted to ask me, then fire away and I will pick some to answer in this video. So obviously I couldn't answer all of them, so I have chosen which ones which were the most popular. And I guess some of the ones I wanted to answer as well. So I'm just gonna get right on, like, stuck in there. The first question I want to cover off is by far the one that was asked the most. It's all about my yoga journey. So where did I train? When did I start yoga? How did I get into it? Rather than go into all of that now, I did actually film this video called My Yoga Journey, which I'm going to link to below. I filmed that towards the end of last year. It explains everything. It explains where I trained, who I trained with, my experience, whether I liked it, whether I'd recommend it, all of that stuff. So if that was you asking that question and that's what you're interested in, then I have linked below, so go check that out. Or just stay with me for a little bit, listen to the other answers, and then go check it out, whichever you wish. Next question. The questions were, how did I kind of start to figure out healthy meals, and then what are my staple healthy meals? So my mum is amazing in the kitchen and always has been, so I suppose that was where a lot of my passion for the kitchen came from, even though when I first met Rob he claimed that I was awful in the kitchen. Now he's not complaining because I cook every night. But I really enjoy it, and I enjoy following a recipe. I never used to be great at kind of just throwing things in myself. I do like following recipes, so I used recipe books, and the two main ones that I used were both Deliciously Ella's and Madeline Shaw's first books. And then there's been loads more since. There are many, many recipe books. My friend Alice, Clean Eating Alice, has got some great books out. But yeah, those were the two that kind of like first gave me inspiration to step away from just, you know, when I was eating meat, like meat, veg, and that would be kind of it. To add into this, actually, someone did ask me about how much carbs I eat. That was Veronica. I don't track macros. It's not for me. I live a balanced life. I like to kind of say that my diet is around about like 80-20, in terms of like 80% of the time I eat extremely well, and then 20% of the time I treat myself. But you know, some weeks that's different. Some weeks I might not fancy a treat, unlikely. Other weeks I might want more. I might want pizza and cake and more things. So yeah, and I don't eat like white carb. I don't eat like white bread and white pasta and things like that. They don't agree with me, and personally there are much healthier and tastier alternatives. So I eat things like porridge. I love porridge. That would be like my staple breakfast in the winter, and then in the summer I'm all about a nice big thick smoothie. I also have like sweet potato and quinoa, like giant couscous, brown rice, wild rice, all of those kind of things that are so readily available now. So yeah, I don't shop anywhere fancy. I shop in Sainsbury's down the road, and I get all of my food there. Okay, when I'm baking sort of like treats and things like that, then I might need to go to the health food shop to get things like coconut sugar. But other than that, I eat everything that I can so easily find in a supermarket. On the subject of treats, that was probably the hardest part of being healthy or clean eating, was kind of finding a few little things that curbed my sweet treat craving without going straight to the Cadbury's Dairy Milk or the Galaxy. And I found those, like I say, in both Madeline and Ella's books. So I'll either bake healthy flapjacks, and actually now I'm much more confident in the kitchen, so I now develop my own recipes, which you can find on the blog, which I will link to below. I just made the most amazing banana bread. Can you tell I'm excited? That will actually be on the blog today or tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. It's vegan, chocolate chip, banana bread, and it tastes insane. To the point that, would it be okay if I had it for breakfast this morning? Maybe? I think so. Anyway, we digress. let's move on. Let's now talk about beginners yoga, because this is another question that I got asked quite a lot. I've gone with the question from Mornings with Soso. Her name is Soso. What a cute name. I love that. Anyway, so Soso asked, what's the best approach for a beginner to go to yoga? Should a beginner do the same sequence every day until it improves? My opinion on that, and remember, this is just my opinion, is that no, I don't necessarily think a beginner needs to do the same sequence every day. I think that the important thing is that you're out there and you're moving your body. And actually, yoga isn't just about like a physical sequence. It's about, you know, going to a class, meeting people, learning maybe a bit more about the history, the philosophy of yoga, maybe a bit more of the spiritual path, and things like that. So it's really important as a beginner that you get yourself out there and you get past that initial fear of going to a class. You know, I teach an all levels class in London in Frame every week, and I cannot, like, there are so many amazing people that just come up to me at the beginning of the class and they're like, just so you know, this is my first ever yoga class. And I cannot tell you like how honoured I am that they are in my class. And it's, you know, I just say to them, look, you know, it's an all levels class, but I do have some more advanced people here, so I'll make it a little bit of both. If it ever gets too much, you can take child's pose, you can come out of it and just rest on your mat. And just work with it and work with any modifications that I give you and things like that. And, you know, if you go to a class, let the teacher know that you're a beginner. And also there are some amazing classes, and I have to say Frame are very good at this. Frame have some classes called Yoga Basics, and they cover off some of the basic postures, alignment, technique. So those classes are really, really great to go to if you are a beginner, because you also know that you're in a class where everyone's in the same position as you, so it might not be as daunting. Even though I hope that going to yoga isn't daunting, I know that sometimes it can be. So yeah, that is what I would recommend. Obviously a home practice is amazing, but I do think it's great to be around a teacher whereby you can learn technique, you can be adjusted, because it's all well and good hearing adjustments via YouTube videos, even mine, but when someone actually puts you into a position and you're like, oh, that's how it's meant to feel. And I'd also recommend maybe even getting a private session, just maybe one or two, find a teacher that you like and get in a private session with them and just get them to work again through basics with you. So yeah, those are my recommendations of how to get into yoga for a beginner. The next question is from Rachel, and I really loved this question. It was, is there a yoga pose that I don't like or avoid? I would like to say that no, I'm just open to all yoga poses. There is a yoga pose. It's a yin pose, and actually I don't avoid it, I just don't like it, and it's called shoelace. Again, I will link to below, I might be able to show you a picture actually on the screen right now, I will try to do that, but I will link below to a sequence that has a lot of shoelace in it in a yin capacity. And shoelace is, I mean, I think everyone dislikes it in a way. It works everything. So on a physical level, it's working through your glutes and your IT band, but then on an emotional level, it's working into all three of your lower chakras. So, you know, that's working through like relationship, and that might not be relationships with external people, relationships with yourself, personal power. It's all of these emotions that are coming up. And, you know, when you're holding that posture for 5 minutes, oh my gosh, is it tough work? So yeah, that would be the pose. And it was one of those poses that when I read that question from Rachel, I didn't even need to think about it. It was like, yeah, that's the one. But like I say, I don't avoid it. And maybe I do every now and again, but I put it into my sequences because it's so important to sit with things that are uncomfortable and to sit with things that you maybe don't love. So yeah, it's really good to do that and to challenge yourself and to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, as the gurus tell me. So from yoga to yoga clothing, the lovely Escape Eat Explore asked me, can I recommend some leggings for yoga that you don't sweat in? So I've spoken about this quite a lot, and yes, in the past I have moaned about some leggings being very obvious. You know, no one wants to go to a yoga class and walk out with crotch sweat. And the majority of the time, especially in the UK, unless you're doing hot yoga, like you're not gonna get so sweaty. or you might actually, who am I to say how sweaty you get, but you know, it wouldn't matter on a lot of pairs of leggings. But the brand that, when I was in Thailand, bear in mind it was ridiculously hot and we were doing yoga outside, so there was no air conditioning, my Dharma Bums leggings absolutely saved the day. And also because they're printed, they're quite thin, but they really hold you in, so you still feel like you've got a good solid pair of leggings on, and they're high-waisted. I just, for a good sweaty session that doesn't show the sweat, I honestly would recommend Dharma Bums. You know, I'm a fan of many brands, but they're the ones that if you're a bit worried about any sweat patches, I'd go for them. Moving on now to books. So quite a few people asked me about books. I've noted down a lady called Sophie and Gabby who asked me for book recommendations, mainly on yoga. I am gonna actually do a whole book recommendation video, but I did do a blog post about it, which again I will link to below. But the ones I'm going to show you just quickly now, while I go to my bookshelf, or my makeshift bookshelf, are these ones. So first of all, Eastern Body, Western Mind. This talks about sort of psychology and the chakra system, but how those things in yoga relate to a Western world and a modern world as well. So this is the revised edition that I've got. You can find it on Amazon. Yeah, if you search Eastern Body, Western Mind, it's a very well-known book in the yoga world, so you will find it. And it's one that you can kind of you can read, or you can just kind of like dip in and out and read little bits. But yeah, massively recommend that. Then the Bhagavad Gita. If you haven't heard of this is one of the most traditional Indian texts from, you know, way back, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not a page turner, or it wasn't for me. It wasn't the book that I was like, oh my gosh, just can't wait. And actually the original is not this big. The original, I think, is like spread over a lot of text. Like, and I'm talking a lot. So this is a translation, and one of the more popular ones. So have a little look at it, and it's a story. Oh, it's about communication, about war, about love, about battle, and all of these things. So it's very interesting to read and have as a kind of background, if you are interested in the historical and the philosophical side of yoga. So yeah, give that a read. And then this is a book that I haven't actually read, and it only arrived yesterday, but I want to share it with you because I have a lot of respect for Jodie Shield. She has just launched her Life Tonic book. I think that the launch might even be like this week. And like I say, I haven't read it, so I'm not sitting here saying it's the most incredible book in the world. But if you follow Jodie, she's into her yoga, into her meditation, her mindfulness, all about, you know, self-love and things like that. So I am really looking forward to it. I'll read you the back. It says, do you feel overwhelmed with what you have on? Are you tired of life weighing you down? Are you stuck in the same old repeating patterns? If this sounds familiar, it's time to let Jodie Shield into your life. So yeah, it's, you know, if you are any of those things, it's worth the read, I think. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna take it on the train with me today and yeah, have a little flick through. So thank you, Jodie. Okay, penultimate question, because I realise this is going on for a while. I really liked this question, and I can't remember who asked me right now, but I will find it and put it on screen. But it was how to get a peaceful mindset whilst working hard. It's tough, right? You know, we all have jobs, and we know that when things get a bit stressful, it's quite hard to find that calm and that peacefulness. And I don't think that there are, you know, there's nobody that can, well, there's not many people that keep that peaceful mind throughout all. I genuinely believe that yoga and meditation has had a huge impact on my way of thinking, but also looking more into my past and why I am the way I am, learning about who I really am as an authentic person. And it's all of those things when you can kind of really, you know, peel away the layers and the front that a lot of us have. I know that I had it, is when you can be truly peaceful and you can start to look at situations differently as well. So when something crazy happens at work, rather than stress out about it, you can be like, right, no, I'm not the crazy stressful person. I can look at this logically, and I can work through this. And the reason I like that question is because there isn't really an answer for it. It's just working with it. One of the best techniques that I have ever worked with is just breath work. So when time gets a bit tough, just take a moment, even if it's 5 deep breaths. Inhale for 4, exhale for 8. Inhale for 4, exhale for 8. If you're familiar with yogic breathing, then do that. If not, just in through the nose, out through the mouth. You know, I will go into more yoga kind of breathing techniques in other videos. But yeah, breath work is amazing for any anxiety or any stress, and that they are the things that in an instant can calm me, can change my perspective, can make me think a little bit clearer. So hopefully that kind of answered that question for you. I'm sorry if it didn't. It's a tough one. And then the final question is from a lovely lady called Lottie. And the question is, what's the most valuable lesson that I have learned throughout yoga and life, I assume? I would say it's okay to not be okay. You know, it's not, no longer do I beat myself up if I'm having a bad day, or does that really do I let it get me down even more? I just let it be. You know, it's okay to wake up on, as you know, our parents would say, out on the wrong side of the bed. It's fine to just be feeling a little bit crappy sometimes. It's totally okay. So you know, if you take anything actually away from this video, know that a down day is just that. It's a down day, and you know, you will hopefully wake up the next day feeling a lot better. You know, work on your breathing, maybe do some meditation, smile at strangers, all these tiny things, random acts of kindness that can actually help us build us back up again when we're having a bad day. So yeah, but just know that it's okay to be a bit crappy sometimes. Anyway, that is it for the Q&A. Thank you so much to everyone that asked questions. I'm sorry that I didn't get around to answering everyone's questions, but hopefully I kind of picked ones that covered quite a few topics for you guys. And like I say, I've linked to all the other videos and blog posts that I mentioned below. And I will see you again soon. We will be flowing together on Sunday. And yeah, so much love and have a lovely evening.